Oh, great question. So my elementary music teacher was Karen Bristol, and she really inspired me to do well in music and always would compliment me, not only in music but also in dance. And then I started playing the flute in 5th grade with Mr. Dave Keys, and he inspired me to keep practicing a lot at home, and he told me, "You're so smart and you can do it." And then when I was an 11th grader, I decided to major in music at Luther College, that was my path. And I really needed to decide whether I was going down the band director path or the choir director path, because by that time I had played a lot of band instruments and done a lot of vocal solos. And I was talking about it with my other friends who were in music, and they just made me realize that I'm really more of a choir person than a band person. Like, that's where my heart really lies. And a common question that they ask music educators is, do you want the opportunity to make music with kids? Is that something you enjoy? And if you enjoy it, then teaching is for you. I love it. I love that the littles, you can be really silly and goofy. The K123, like, they love to make me bead bracelets, and we bond over silly, goofy songs. And then the older kids, like 4, 5, 6, they're a little more sophisticated music. And then my favorite is middle school music. I really enjoy our junior high choir. They have a great sense of humor and a great attitude, and the music is fun and catchy, and their voices are starting to grow, so I can help them with that. And then the senior high choir is like really serious, and they get to do the hard songs. So it's really good variety, and yes, I enjoy every grade level. Definitely. Do you know what the hardest part for me is? Is playing the piano. So every day I have to have about 35 songs prepared to teach all my classes, and they might be little ditties in kindergarten, or they might be like a giant piece of music like Bohemian Rhapsody for the high school choir. So, but I have to be prepared, and you have to play a ton of notes on the piano. I bet I play hundreds of keys on the piano every day. Absolutely. So music is made of sound and silence, and that sound is the sound is moving through time. So you have to be reactionary to what's on the paper, and you're working together in the group to produce this sound. You also have to count your silence. Physically, it helps you with your posture and your alignment and your breath control.
I've always loved theater arts ever since I was young. I remember the first time I ever saw a musical was at the Fireside Theater. I saw Fiddler on the Roof when I was pretty young. I think I might have been about 9 or so at the time. And I loved it. I just loved everything about it. And I wanted to see more theater. And then I got involved in theater in school when I could. And my passion just kind of grew and grew. And I wanted to be able to share that passion with other people. I'm licensed to teach grades 7 through 12, so I work with pretty much mostly 7th through 12th graders. Oh yes, sometimes it's theater can be very hard. There's a lot of things that go into a play that maybe people don't always realize go into it. One of the things I love about theater, musical plays, whatever, is that it intersects so many different types of art. And so you've got to work on the acting, and you've got to work on the costumes, you've got to work on the set, you've got to work on the props, you know, and you got to put all these things together. And so each one of those things requires planning, and good shows have all of these elements working together. So you got to kind of make sure that the costumes that you design aren't going to blend into the wall that you decided to paint a certain color. So there's a lot of planning. There's a lot of time just with the rehearsal, and just trying to get everything done to the level that you want it to be for performance. To get a part in a show, you have to do an audition, and if it is a play audition, then usually you read some different parts from that play. If it's a musical audition, you read some parts from the musical, but you also do a singing audition. Those auditions are largely what help me to determine who's going to get what role. We also do some other fun things sometimes at auditions, like if I need people to act like animals, for example, we'll do some of that so I can see, who's not afraid to be something completely different and who is able to do something that is physically required for a particular part or something like that. It has to do with sometimes their experience, sometimes their volume, their confidence level, their schedule. That's a huge thing because we do have to be able to meet at the same time as the rest of the cast. So there's tons of different things that go into it, and I can't ever tell you what it's going to look like going in until I've seen everybody that's a part, because one or two people different can throw off an entire order of how I might want to do a cast. So it just has to do with which people choose to audition for that particular show, and ultimately where I think they're going to fit best to make that show the best success. I think theater arts, as well as any of the arts, is a huge benefit to the development of any human being. I think it helps with school, for sure. It requires things like time management, creativity, confidence, dedication. You have to go outside your comfort zone, and I think the more times people can ever do that, the more confident they become, and just they are less timid, less shy in general situations. And at the same time, it just develops who we are as people, as humans. And so I think there's so much benefit there, yes.